Right guys, so today is a little bit of a different video for you guys. This is going to be me just, I guess, talking and rambling on about what's going on, and not in the Pokemon market, but just my thoughts of what's been going on regarding the Sword and Shield era with all the old arts and the booster boxes becoming ridiculously expensive, and then talking about the Scarlet and Violet era because, you know, of course we're deep in the Scarlet and Violet era right now. Things are starting to pick up a little bit with more and more of these sets rolling out. We have the new set coming out, Twilight Masquerade. Haven't looked at the set yet. It's coming out the same time scale as Chilling Reign did for Sword and Shield. And we kind of knew how Chilling Reign was. You know, if you were around when it came out, it didn't get the best reception. People kind of liked the set, but not too much. And now look at Chilling Reign. It's just gone absolutely crazy with, you know, $200+ a booster box. And things are just going crazy with Chilling Reign and of course with the Sword and Shield era set. Now there's one thing that I've seen a lot of videos and a lot of comments, and I've talked about it a bit, and one topic that has been brought up, you know, here and there and everywhere at the moment, is there any market manipulation going on in the Pokemon market right now? I'm going to say yes, but maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally, but it has happened, right? I think, like, if you look at the market right now and you look at Sword and Shield era, I think that's just normal, natural growth, right? We've had very popular sets that are out of stock on the Pokemon Center website that have been doing incredibly well. Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Chilling Reign, of course, Evolving Skies is just, you know, way out there on its own. We just leave it be, right? But all the other Sword and Shield era booster boxes have been doing pretty well. So that side of things, I'm like, you know what? They're doing better than I expected and anticipated, but it's normal. It's just a natural thing to happen. Obviously, there's some sets that have just been going crazy, whereas others have just kind of slowly trickling up, you know, like Brilliant Stars, for example. So let's look at the Scarlet and Violet era, or individual cards in particular. Okay, now I've been covering, over the past few weeks, been covering a few like Scarlet and Violet era cards, and even Sword and Shield era cards, like what's been going on in the market, you know, with single card prices. Keep you guys informed of what has been going on regarding that, because, you know, not everybody follows it as much as I do, and it's useful information to know how much your cards are worth, or if there's a particular card that you really want, how much is it going for? Is it worth picking up? Is it, you know, gaining any money? Do you already have it? You know, stuff like that, right? So with the Scarlet and Violet era, one thing that I will say I've noticed is we look at cards like the Magikarp and you look at Morty's Conviction from Temporal Forces. So we have two different sets, Temporal Forces and Paldea Evolved. Now, when I did a lot of these price checks on a lot of the cards, this was going on. I'm seeing the Magikarp, you know, reaching $100 or going over $100 for a normal illustration rare. This isn't a special illustration rare, but it is still a difficult card to pull. And the Magikarp was on its way up anyway. It was climbing. There was a couple of times, a couple of months back actually, where I was like, hang on a minute, I think the Magikarp might actually overtake the Iono. And it did. And it did. And when I look at TCG Player, you can see there's certain individual sellers, as it were, that kind of just pump this card. There's not many sales or vet cards available for sale, and they just put up these astronomically high prices to drive, I guess, FOMO. And you know, there's a ton of cards around, a ton of copies of the Magikarp around. Just look on eBay, you know, and places like that. You can see them everywhere. And it's the same goes for the Morty's Conviction. Now, Temporal Forces, as we know with Temporal Forces, it's less of it around. We don't know how much less, but there is less of it printed and out there compared to the other heavily printed Scarlet and Violet era sets, and the pull rates are tough. So naturally, I would expect there to be quite pricey cards on the uptick. You know, that's kind of a good thing. You know, it's quite healthy, I think, for a set to just keep going up. You know, for these chase cards to be worth a chase. We don't want a Scarlet and Violet base where the most expensive card's $25. That's terrible. Like, it's just not worth it, right? So Temporal Forces, I feel like, you know, it's fine. Looking at the Morty's Conviction, again, I do feel like that is a slightly influenced card in its rise. The big talk about, what, a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, was the Umbreon V from Evolving Skies. Now, of course, at the time, when I looked at the card prices, I was checking the market, and I was like, wow, this card's shot massively. How the hell is this? Well, I mean, I don't know how it's happened, but it's happened, right? I didn't know if there was anything else, right? I didn't know anything going on. I just saw the card price and was like, holy smokes, this card's going up. that's crazy. This card has been sat around $80, $90, $100, bouncing around for over a year. You know, it just hasn't really moved much. And then all of a sudden, it's like $160, $170, $180. And I'm like, look, I know Evolving Skies is going a bit mad right now. If you look at all the other alt arts, all the big top alt arts on the set, they're just gradually going up. And even I would say, even some of them are not really moving at all. It was kind of seemed weird that this Umbreon shot up so much so fast. A lot of you guys put into my comments, you're like, Jace, you know, have you seen the PokeRev video and all this sort of stuff? And I'm like, no, I have no idea what you're on about. So I went and watched it, and look, I've seen two different ends or two different sides of the argument. Some people say, oh yeah, well, it's all because of him. Some people are like, well, you know, I mean, he kind of blamed himself for the card being, you know, going up in price. Look, I mean, to be fair, he just turned around and said, it's my favorite card in the set, or I prefer this than the Umbreon. I mean, I prefer it than the Umbreon. I mean, I have the Umbreon. I don't have that Umbreon, but I personally prefer it. You know, and it's the same with other sets. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the Giratina from Lost Origin. I prefer Aerodactyl. Everyone's got their favourites, right? So, you know, mentioned it. Of course, the Umbreon then goes up. Of course, like when you have, just like me or anybody, but especially for PokeRev, if you have such a large audience, fan base, whatever, you will get a small few that will be like, right, let's get on it. And they'll just buy as many copies of this card as possible, which will then inflate the price. Now, of course, it's a great card. It's an Umbreon. It will eventually go up as well with all the other cards in Evolving Skies, but it was just seemed odd. That's one thing I just wanted to talk about. In my view, it is what it is. If you have it, great. If you want it, it is a beautiful card. It is tough to pull. You are still better off buying it. It's just the way it goes. But things right now in the market overall. So when we talk about the single cards, we talk about the sealed product and stuff like that with Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield's drying out. Like, no matter where you look, pretty much every single set is becoming harder and harder to get hold of, even battle styles. And, you know, it's one of these things we knew was going to happen because it happened with every other generation before it. But it was like, which sets would be the front runners, right? Which ones will go up the most, the fastest? And of course, Evolving Skies is in a league of its own. I compare it to Team Up, not for the same reason as there's less of it, but just the growth of it is very similar to Team Up, which is actually quite fascinating, to be honest. And then we have things like Chill and Rain, Lost Origin, and Fusion Strike doing incredibly well. And I've always said any sets that have the trainer gallery are going to be good, and any sets that have the alt arts are also going to be good, and that does include Battlestar. The earlier sets in the Sword and Shield era, Dancer Blaze, Vivid, Rebel, and Sword and Shield Base, those ones I'm not too sure about in like how they'll go in the future. There are going to be dud sets. There will be. There always is in every era. There's always ones that do grow, but very, very slowly, and the ceiling is quite low. Like Crimson Invasion, Steam Siege, and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, they've still gone up, you know, and I'll give you an example. Steam Siege, I don't know how much Steam Siege is a box, I haven't really looked, but I can guarantee you it is way more than it was when you could have bought it, you know, when it was available. You know what I mean? Same with Crimson Invasion, right? So if we look at Sword and Shield, I expect, as a rule, the majority of them are going to keep going up in price. They will eventually hit a ceiling, and they'll probably just sit there for a long time, and they might continue to go up. They might then go back down. Who knows? But one thing I will say is, buy the ones you like, buy the sets you like from the Sword and Shield era. If you can get them for a really good price, then go for it. Do a little bit of research, have a look on TCG Player, have a look on the Pokemon Center website to see whether or not some of these booster boxes for these sets are still available. And, you know, have a look on Facebook and eBay and places like that for some good deals, because you can get some good deals as well. And it can also give you an idea of what is going on in the market, right? Especially eBay. You know, look at the recently sold listings and get a rough idea, right? And that's how I found out about Lost Origin when it shot up in price. It really threw me off. It really, really threw me off. I mean, I was buying boxes for 130. I would even say even 115. And then within 2 weeks, it was like 160, 170, 180. And I was like, wait, what? Because it sold out on the Pokemon Center website over here. And I didn't even realize. So it just happens, right? It just happens. Like Chill and Rain's recently sold out here. What's going on with Chill and Rain? We still have Fusion Strike as the recording of this video anyway. but I expect that to go the same. So overall, Sword and Shield era, I do feel like is going to do very well and is expected to do very well. Now, I hear it all the time, quite a lot, you know, reading the comment does make me chuckle, where you do get some people that are like, look, Jace, set's trash, it's terrible, there's so much product of it around, no one cares, it's not going to do very well, right? We had that with Fusion Strike, we had that with Chill and Rain, look what's happened. So now I look at Scarlet and Violet. Okay, Scarlet and Violet. I actually highly rate the Scarlet and Violet era. Overall, I actually do. I think the change and the shift to illustration rares and special illustration rares is very cool. Like, I think the whole artwork style of the illustration, the special illustration, is absolutely amazing. I am still not a fan of EXs. I wasn't a fan when they did it last time. I'm still not a fan of it in the Scarlet and Violet era, whether it be normal EXs or the full art EXs. I think the full arts are worse, but you know, the EXs, I'm not a huge fan. Obviously, I love, you know, the Vs. VMAXs are kind of a bit like, nah, but the V cards from Sword and Shield are very cool. I do like GXs from the Sun and Moon era, and of course, Tag Team are amazing. So, moving forward, you know, with Scarlet and Violet, I do feel like there are, like I say, there's a ton of just good sets, right? I think near enough every set, I wouldn't say it's a home run, but near enough every set is pretty solid. I mean, Scarlet and Violet base, okay, it is poor. There's going to be one, right? But, you know, Paradox Rift, Paleo Evolved, I mean, these are good sets. You know, Temporal Forces. Paleo and Fates absolutely smashed out of the park. I was shocked at how good Paleo and Fates is, because I was really concerned with Paleo and Fates. I mean, I'll get to 151 in a minute, but I was a bit concerned about Paleo and Fates, because Shine and Fates, as we know, got heavily reprinted. I kind of feel, a part of me feels like Paleo and Fates will go the same way. We'll have to wait and see. Whether or not it will, who knows? But that is something which we have to keep in mind moving forward with Paleo and Fates. ETBs and stuff are super cheap right now. Great set to open. I think it's a great set to have fun with. Cards are holding value. You know, Pikachu's actually going up in value. God of War's doing well. Mew's doing well. Iono's doing okay. Charizard's doing well. Overall, I think the set is actually doing pretty good, to be honest. Let me look at 151. Okay. And now we've just had like obviously the announcement of the reprint of the Japanese booster boxes and people losing their absolute minds. I've got a video talking about that in more detail coming soon. I'm not going to talk about the Japanese so much in this video. But regarding English, a lot of people ask me like, Jace, are they going to reprint English 151? Because, you know, some of you guys have bought 151, are holding on to 151, whether it be ETBs, collection boxes, UPCs, you name it. I know a lot of you guys have a lot of it, you know, kept in your collection and sealed. Me personally, I just have the Pokemon Center ETBs. You know, they're the only ones. I might grab a UPC, just have one in my collection, but that's basically it. But regarding like the invest side, ETBs and Pokemon Center ETBs, I would say is the way to go. Is it going to be reprinted? Yeah, I think so. I think they'll reprint the ETBs. I mean, will they go the same way as like Crown Zenith? Crown Zenith is quite heavily printed and did get quite a few reprints. Probably, you know, I mean, we can't, you know, I can't see them like, yes, they will, or no, they won't. But I have a feeling they'll probably reprint the ETBs. If they're going to do anything, it'll probably be the ETBs, maybe the booster bundles. That will probably be it. You know, obviously the demand for 151 is super high right now, and I do feel like 151 is a good set. Is it the best set? No. Is it going to be as good as Evolving Skies? No. Evolving Skies, because it has a booster box, because it is a main set, does help the set even further, right? I did a video recently where I like ranked the Sword and Shield era sets that I think are going to be good to invest in 2024 right now and this year. And to be honest, a lot of them are going to be good, but I think some are better than others. And there's been a couple of comments like, what about 151? Obviously it's in Scarlet and Violet. 151, if I had to put it in that list, I would put it probably top, but I'll probably put it behind Evolving Skies because I have a booster box. You know, and one thing with the Scarlet and Violet era, you know, and same with Sword and Shield, compared to previous eras, ETBs are heavily printed way more now than they ever did in the past. So you've got to take that into consideration. That's why I always say Pokemon Center ones are better. Like if you're going to go for any, go for the Pokemon Center ones rather than the regular ones, right? Because you can still buy 151 ETBs all over the show. Yes, they've gone up a little bit in price, but you can still get hold of them. So same with the UPCs. I mean, I keep seeing the UPCs on sale, you know. So there's a lot of it out there, and I do think they'll probably reprint, you know, either the booster bundle or the regular ETB. But you know, we'll have to wait and see. But overall, I do feel like the Scarlet and Violet era is doing pretty well. If I look at like the single cards, I would be kind of cautious on a lot of these. Some of the booster boxes are going up, like Palais Revolt is doing pretty well. But I think right now we're still in the buyer's market of Pokemon. And I think moving forward, we could start to see a shift in the quality and the power of the Scarlet and Violet era sets. Yeah, we go back through previous generations. The first few sets seem to be quite weak, and then the middle of the road, and then after tend to do very well. Of course, we have Twilight Masquerade coming out at the end of May, and then after that, who knows? There's been talks about a dragon-based themed set, whether or not it'll be a holiday set or a normal set. Either way, last time we had a dragon set was Evolving Skies, and we know how that turned out. It'll be really interesting to see in the future how things go. But I think right now, I think Pokemon's doing very well. A lot of people are heavily invested into the Sword and Shield era, looking to pick up whichever booster boxes that they can try and get hold of before it goes crazy and becomes silly expensive. For me, if you want to know what I'm looking to get in right now, my main focus is finishing my collection of the Sword and Shield era booster boxes, having at least one of each. But if I'm going further into what I want to invest in, at the moment here in the UK, it's got to be Fusion Strike. It's still available on the Pokemon Center website. I am looking to pick more up. Apart from that, I'm looking at Scarlet and Violet. I'm looking at what I can get there. Booster boxes are super cheap. You know, now's a good time. And I'm looking at building my single card collection. My own personal collection, I'd like to build up. It's taken a hit. Hasn't really grown much. I haven't really grabbed any new cards in such a long time. I really want to focus on that this year and get the old arts and the cards I like from the Sword and Shield era that I hadn't got already before they start going silly prices. You can get some really good old arts out there that are still quite cheap. Quite good. Of course, some of the big top ones like Giratina and stuff like that. Of course, they're very expensive. But, you know, it's just the way it goes. I expect a lot of the old arts to cool off, to be fair, towards the end of the year. And then potentially start to drop. If we look at the Sun and Moon era, and you're looking at, you know, you look to the old arts there, they've started to cool off. They had a boom last year, and now they're starting to trickle. Not crashing, but they're trickling back down to what they should be, like their natural growth. They had a little bit of a spike. Same with the waifu cards as well. Will there be another boom like that? Who knows? But I kind of feel like right now it's all focused on the old arts. People are kind of worried they can't get hold of the booster boxes from the Sword and Shield era before they go up in price. Like I say, just get the ones you like, and if they do go up in price, it is the way it is. You know, they're not going to be reprinted. So now's a good time to pick them up. And I mean, Scarlet and Violet is what I'm looking towards in the future. But I thought I'll just talk today, just a bit of a different video. You know, just me sitting here chatting to you guys about what's been my thoughts. And I've been kind of sitting back and seeing what's going on, you know, in the market, and especially over here in the UK as well. Things are getting more expensive, especially in the Sword and Shield era. There are a ton of products still around, and you know, if you're looking to crack packs and have fun, honestly, I think the Scarlet and Violet era is such a great place, you know, to have fun and crack packs. And you know, Crown Zenith is also very good as well. The Sword and Shield, because there's a ton of Crown Zenith around, which is actually pretty good in my opinion. But yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to talk to you guys about how I feel, what's going on. Is there any market manipulation going on? Yeah, but at a very small scale. I don't think it will sell. You know, we already started seeing the Morty's Conviction price go down. Magikarp's going down a little bit, but Morty's Conviction's definitely dropping. And again, the more and more boxes get opened and packs getting cracked, these cards are going to, you know, go down in price. So that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you made it far into the video, guys, make sure to smash that like button. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I would like to know and see how you guys feel of what's going on in the market right now, and whether or not you want to see more of these videos where I'm just rambling to you guys about how I feel about what's going on, and you know, my opinions on certain things. And of course, if you've got any specific questions, let me know down in the comments, or you can drop me an email. or message me on Instagram. And I want to bring back these videos. It's been a long time. I used to do videos where I used to answer your questions in videos, and I'm more than happy to do that again. Alright guys, that is it from me in today's video. I want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys. We have reached over 11,000 subscribers, which, to be honest, I didn't even expect to even get 1,000, let alone 11,000. So I want to say a massive thank you to everybody. We are on the road to what? Let's go over 20k. That's going to be the next goal of the channel. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody. But that's it from me in today's video. Hope you all have a great day. As always, you guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.